So before we get to the information that I was requesting in August of 2023, in May of 2023, after I was terminated, I did reach out to the New Brunswick Ombudsman, and I met with the deputy ombud. His name is Christian, and the director of investigation, her name was Anne, and we spoke for a long time. And basically, when I reached out to them and told them that I had information, um, they reached out to me and wonderful. And we had a meeting down in Fredericton at their office, and I disclosed all this information. Um, Christian, the deputy ombud, had said to me, like, I'm relatively new to this role, but our offices has been, we've always received a lot of complaints about WorkSafe, and although we haven't been able to really figure out what was going on there, we know there's something going on there. So thank you very much for coming to us. And it was basically the perfect storm because where I was in the DRO and then I was in as a senior investigator, that I kind of got to see both sides. Um, and I was part of conversations that normal people and normal claim owners um, aren't part of, right? The side conversations. So, um, so we met in May and we spoke for a couple hours, and then they said that they would and I told them, like, hey, like, I know you just requested this file and you received some of it, but go back in and request it this way, right? And I told them the keywords, the nicknames that they were um, basically using to skirt FOIP to hide information back from an injured worker who's absolutely entitled to it. So, and I said to them, like, that was one of the big catalysts in me speaking out, was like, you guys were requesting information and I wasn't going to hold that back from you. And of course, they're like, oh, we can't say or not whether there's this files here. And I'm like, I know you can't say, but I know it's here because I was that person. And this is what you need to do to go back and request it to see what they've really been doing. So that was in May. So in August, again, I reached out and was requesting information because I'm trying to help facilitate the ombudsman investigation as well, and to provide information because I had told them repeatedly that as soon as I started putting my concerns in writing, that's when everything started to change for me at WorkSafe. So um, on September 8th, I submitted my request the way Yvonne told me to. And then October 24th, I did a follow up, and David Luther, the previous general counsel, said, oh, we referred that off to Cox and Palmer. So on October 27th, like I said, I got a letter from Jamie Eddy threatening me and telling me that we may refer the letter to law enforcement. And I reached out to the ombudsman after that, and I really didn't know what to do. And they told me, hey, there's a whole other section of ombud, and they deal with privacy. So you need to put in a complaint to the ombud. So I forwarded that letter basically where they were saying they were going to call law enforcement on me if I told the ombud or my premier, because I had reached out to Blaine Higgs about the illegal activities going on at WorkSafe. So I forwarded that message, and I am transparent. So I CC'd Jamie Eddy on it right to the ombudsman. And that was on October 30th. On October 31st, after I CC'd the after I sent it to the ombudsman and CC'd Jamie Eddy, he sent me a letter saying, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put we may also refer the matter to law enforcement. It wasn't meant to be in the letter. And I'm like, I mean, come on, I'm not stupid. I know every single word in that letter was intentional. And because I sent it to the ombudsman, and part of being a lawyer is that you're not allowed to threaten or intimidate or like say consequences, give consequences. If you don't do something, you're going to do this, especially like law enforcement. That's actually an offense with the New Brunswick Bar Society. So of course he come right back and said, sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And I went back and said, well, yeah, you did. So that was on October 31st. So on November 24th, I met with the ombudsman again. That's 2023. And we were on the like a Zoom call, a Teams call for hours. And basically they were like, why hasn't anybody else come forward? And like I answered every single question that they asked of me. And they thanked me for being strong and coming forward. And I'm like, and I was told that they were going to put out a public statement regarding their investigation into WorkSafe. So that made me feel vindicated a bit, right? So I sent that off to, like I said, to the ombudsman and put in a complaint that they weren't answering my FOIP request. The ombud got involved and basically issued a letter saying, I don't know why they feel they don't have to give you your own personal information, because they do. And they started to push back on WorkSafe and Cox and Palmer a little bit. So on February 22nd of 2024, the ombud, I just want to make sure that I get the dates right. So on February 15th, I filed a complaint with the ombud because Cox and Palmer had sent me a letter on Valentine's Day basically saying that my request for information that, remember, Yvonne Collette told me to do was a fishing expedition, and it was frivolous and fictitious or something like that. So the ombudsman is like, no, actually she's entitled to that information. So on May 13th, 2024, the ombud, lovely lady there, sent me basically a proposal of resolution saying if WorkSafe just resets it and a new timeline will come out, will you be okay with that? And I said, yeah, I guess, right? Like I just wanted my information. Like I wanted my performance review. I want the emails that I sent to Mike Hallett about me saying that I'm uncomfortable with what's going on here. I'm not holding information back from the ombudsman. It's making me feel like I'm compromising my integrity, and that's something I'm never going to be comfortable with, is basically the wording of one of the few and final emails that I sent. Well, not few, but one of the final emails I sent to Michael Hallett. So I agreed to that. So on May 13th, 2024, we had agreed to a resolution. So on May 14th, 2024, a letter was sent to Tim Peterson. He's the CEO at WorkSafe New Brunswick, basically saying that the complaint is resolved, that I had agreed that, yes, we're going to let you go back and do the complaint, or to reset the timeline. And now you have, I think it's 30 business days to get that information to me. All fine and dandy. So that should have been in August that I should have been getting my information. So in August, I got another letter from Cox and Palmer saying their tone had completely changed this time, basically saying, we take the matter, very seriously, and we're going to get you your information by December 17th, 2024, and that the ombud had approved that extension. So I was pissy, to say the least. So I wrote a little note to the ombudsman. I don't think it was the extension request that upset me about the ombud. I think, or about, the extension request. It was about the ombud not giving me the heads up. Like I didn't want to hear it from Jamie Eddy. Like, call me petty. I don't trust Jamie Eddy. So like then I had to reach out to the ombudsman. It's like, did you guys do this? Like, I just think it should have come from the ombudsman. Like, hey, WorkSafe has requested an extension and we approved it, right? But it didn't. It come third party through Jamie Eddy, which made me a little pissy. So I sent a notice to them saying like I don't have any say in this. Like who agreed to this? And basically they sent me back something saying if you don't like it, do a judicial review, right? So I'm like, okay. So do I get any help with the judicial review? No, that's all at your cost, or you can do it on your own. So it's kind of me like, as a single mom, do I do this or do I wait? Because by the time the judicial review request gets through and up in the Court of King's Bench, basically it's going to be December 17th. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let it go because I'm not gonna waste the court's time. That's just not who I am. I respect the law. I respect courts and procedures and policies and legislation. Like I am a rule follower to the T. So I let it go after they said do a judicial review. I thought I'll wait, and if I don't get all the information on December 17th, then we'll do a judicial review. So last week on November 12th, 2024, I got a letter from the ombudsman basically saying that WorkSafe is refusing my request. And I'll tell you the reasons why. I have a personal grudge stemming from interactions with colleagues and supervisors during this time and losing my job. I made several media posts shaming employees. I made a media post saying that WorkSafe is a criminal enterprise. I've never used that wording. That's WorkSafe's wording. Thank you for that, WorkSafe. And then I created a political party to, here, let me get the words. This one was interesting. Sorry. I just want to get it right because I know that if I don't, they will have an action against me. That basically I had created my own political party. I'm just trying to find it. Sorry, it's just super small. Made several posts. You are determined based on personal grudges to ruin WorkSafe New Brunswick, its board of directors, and the employment status of many employees, calling for people to be fired or resign, and repeatedly called for an overhaul of WorkSafe New Brunswick. Yes, I did do that. Yeah. If you're hiding evidence back and you are manipulating claim files to reduce benefits inappropriately, because you have to understand people. If somebody, say, is making $4,000 in loss of earning benefits and a claims manager deems you in a position, your benefits are going from like $4,000 to maybe $1,000 if you're lucky, because you're paid as if you're working that position, right? Oh, the timing of your request, which followed the termination of your employments, complaints or started intent to file with agencies, overhaul boards or oversight boards, and the formation of a new political party to overhaul its operations and leadership. So, I created the Social Justice Party of New Brunswick. But if anybody's been following my platform, it's a lot more than just about WorkSafe New Brunswick. So don't flatter yourself, guys. There's a lot of other people who are doing the wrong things and people are suffering for it. And this was my response. In democracy, there should be corrective mechanisms to address when public institutions go awry. The Ombud is one of these mechanisms. The notion that the Ombud can be swayed by claims of she has issues with personnel is not valid. Personal conflicts have no bearing on facts that laws are being broken or that I am entitled to my own personal information. Additionally, if my allegations are not true, impacting my rights is not the answer. Denying my FOIP requests is not a solution. If I'm making untrue statements, the appropriate forum is the Court of King's Bench with a defamation lawsuit, not undermining democracy and violating my absolute right to my own information. WorkSafe New Brunswick must prove the legal test of defamation, which must occur in the Court of King's Bench, not through the ombuds. Please note that to date I have not been issued any court actions for untrue statements, as all statements I make are true, which is a protected right. I stated yes, I created a new political party, the Social Justice Party of New Brunswick. Social justice is grounded in the idea that every human being deserves a full spectrum of political, economic, social rights, and opportunities. The Social Justice Party platform addresses many issues beyond WorkSafe New Brunswick. Claiming that this party was created to target WorkSafe is false and defamatory. Creating a new political party is not a valid reason to deny someone the information that they are entitled to. We live in a democracy, and this should not be considered an argument. It should be noted that nowhere on my platform did I use the words criminal enterprise. That wording is directly from WorkSafe New Brunswick, although it may be true. In 2018, the Auditor General Kim McPherson reported that WorkSafe New Brunswick was plagued by poor governance and lack of oversight. This tells us everything we need to know about WorkSafe. The fact is, WorkSafe has been operating outside legislation, policies, and procedures, and this has been ongoing for years, as reported by the Auditor General in 2018. The Ombud jurisdiction is to ensure agencies are compliant. This jurisdiction should not be used as a tool to impact anybody's rights. The Ombuds's office should not be used to infringe upon my right to information or my right of freedom of speech. If what I'm saying is false, provide the information, prove that I'm lying, and file a lawsuit. Otherwise, just complete the request. Given that I have been requesting my own personal information since August 3rd, 2023, 473 days ago, this delay is a complete failure of democracy and the privacy laws that govern us. The only thing frivolous or fictitious is withholding of my information for 473 days and counting. If there is nothing nefarious occurring at WorkSafe, there should be no issue in releasing the requested information. In fact, releasing my information should be the first step in proving me wrong. As stated in the November 12, 2024 letter from the Ombud, refusing this request takes away my rights. What occurred over the past 473 days and counting answers Christian's questions of why hasn't any other employee come forward. The fact is, WorkSafe New Brunswick has defamed me. I'm not disgruntled. I'm not fictitious. I'm certified in administrative justice. I'm a former police officer. I'm a social worker. And I take those titles and designations very seriously. I took an oath to uphold administrative justice and be law-abiding, which I honor every day. The Ombud office is held at the highest regard. I ask that you protect my rights and the rights of New Brunswickers. Do not be complicit in WorkSafe New Brunswick abusive process. Be independent. I request the Ombud office stay within its jurisdiction. Advise WorkSafe that any untrue or defamatory statements are outside your jurisdiction and must be proven in the Court of King's Bench. Your jurisdiction is to facilitate and enforce privacy laws, and upholding WorkSafe New Brunswick requests would result in a breach of public trust. Thank you for your consideration and dedication to democracy. So that was sent today on November 18th, 2024.